His twisted tale begins in Linwood, California, a multicultural suburb of Los Angeles stewing with diversity.
I was born in Linwood, California, which is in the hood.
Yo, ding dong, man. Ding dong, yo.
I don't know if it's really known for that much. I think the Symbionese Liberation Army kidnapped somebody from Linwood during the whole Petty Hearst thing, so that was probably their claim to fame.
On October 23rd, 1959, the Weird One was born. Alfred Matthew Yankovic made a big entrance.
I thank the Lord to this day. I didn't think we was ever going to have any, and then when he came along, I thought he was going to be twins, because, well, 9 pounds 3 ounces, wasn't he, when he was born?
Big boy.
My mom is kind of a little withdrawn, and my dad is, really gregarious, so that's where my polarity comes from, I think. But I've forgotten the question already.
He was a very, very, very special kid, really and truly. He was.
Yes.
I was a straight-A student. I was the valedictorian of my high school. I graduated when I was 16 years old. My folks were really protective, so I wasn't allowed to go out that much. I was kind of the boy in the bubble.
Anything that was remotely erotic, his mom would take a felt-tip pen, Reader's Digest, if there was a woman in a bikini or a bra ad, she would take the black marker and she would mark everything out so he couldn't see anything. I mean, so we're talking about massive repression here.
Being the only child, he was in his room a lot, and just studying mostly. No one to play with him much.
My high school is across the street from my house, and my mom would watch me through binoculars from her kitchen window when I was in PE, so just to make sure the other kids weren't playing too rough with me. It's a little extreme.
But Alfred burst out of the cocoon of his sheltered world when opportunity came knocking.
There was a door-to-door accordion salesman that came around when I was about 6 years old.
And he was selling accordion lessons and guitar lessons, and so I chose accordion because it's more like a one-man band.
And my parents, being the visionaries that they were, decided that I should be really popular in high school and take accordion lessons.
Alfred first pumped his accordion on October 22nd, 1966, one day before his 7th birthday.
He enjoyed it. He could play most anything by ear, just pick it up and he'd play Happy Birthday or whatever song they wanted to, just by ear, like.
First of all, you're a kid that's damaged anyway, otherwise why are you doing it?
Another reason that my parents decided that I should take accordion lessons is because of Frankie Yankovic, who of course is America's polka king. I guess my folks just decided that there should be at least one more accordion-playing Yankovic in the world. So it was the accordion for me.
Contrary to popular belief, Alfred is not related to the late polka king. But just the same, he mastered his squeeze box in only 3 years, and soon Alfred began arranging top 40 tunes and writing silly songs and parodies.
Probably 8 years old, I probably started listening to songs on the radio and changing the words around to amuse my friends. So it's just, something that was ingrained in me.
In 1973, a friend turned Alfred onto Dr. Demento's nationally syndicated radio show. Alfred was immediately hooked to the doctor's world of weird and wacky music.
Woo, woo, woo! Wind up your radio, Dementites and Dementoids. It's time once again for the Dr. Demento Show.
The kind of comedy songs that I used to listen to on the Dr. Demento Show, and just imagine, just the most bizarre things happening. It's like, listening to a Spike Jones record, and it's like a circus in your mind. I feel like I'm 7 years old talking about, in the 40s we didn't have TV, and we used to listen to the radio. But, there's a certain magic to listening to the radio.
Alfred was soon submitting songs to the doctor's demented operation. The doctor found charm in Alfred's cheaply recorded accordion-powered ditties.
In 1976, I just happened to get an envelope in the mail one day from Alfred Yankovic of Linwood, California. When I first got this tape, it had nothing written on it.
Go a Belvedere cruising tonight.
16-year-old Alfred had hit pay dirt with a song called Belvedere Cruising.
It was a song that Al wrote about driving around the streets of Linwood in his parents' Plymouth Belvedere.
That was a weird-ass car.
It got voted into my top 10 most requested songs, and his stuff just kept getting better and better from there.
And then I realized it was on the radio, and I just went nuts. I was just like, running around the house screaming. I couldn't believe it, which I still do whenever I hear my song on the radio. I just run around the house screaming. Just never gets old.
In the spring of '75, Alfred graduated Linwood High School at the age of 16.
He was valedictorian of his high school. His high school speech was about how the polar ice cap was going to melt and cover the Earth. I think they yanked him off the stage.
I was convinced by a guidance counselor that, well, you know, you're good in math and you're very artistic, so you should be an architect. I was like, well, I kind of want to be a cartoon. I was like, no, you'll never make any money. Be an architect. Like, oh, okay.
Alfred enrolled in California Polytechnic's prestigious School of Architecture.
He got picked on an awful lot. First time I saw him, I thought he was either some lovable nut genius or he was some kind of psycho killer.
I think I got the name Weird Al in the dorms my freshman year in college. I'm not exactly sure why, because I think I'm a pretty normal guy.
Because every time he walked by, he would give us this really just psycho look. And so some guys started saying, hey, effing Weird Al. And Al would just kind of just keep on walking.
Joel Miller saw past Al's weirdness. The two became fast friends and formed a band. They took a strange brew of tunes to the stage at the campus coffee house.
And they're hearing a guy on an accordion and a guy on bongos. I mean, and they've been hearing country western music all night long.
We'd throw some like funny songs into the set, or we'd do medleys of, you know, a bunch of completely unrelated songs. And the audience went nuts. And I think that's where I first really got the bug. I mean, I got this huge reaction from people.
The place goes nuts. They give us a standing ovation. I turn, I look at Al. He's glowing like Chernobyl's melting down or something, like he's radioactive. And that's when I kind of knew that that's what he wanted to do for his entire life.
By the fall of 1977, Al landed the night shift on the campus radio station.
All right, looks like it's gonna be another record-breaking show. You got Weird Al on your radio. Up, it's instant request time.
I got to just go nuts, bring my friends on the air. They do like character voices. We do bits and skits live on the air, and I'd play all sorts of bizarre music. I was kind of the surrogate Dr. Demento for the Central Coast of California because, you know, we couldn't get the Demento show up there.
In Al's senior year in college, 1979, the Knacks' My Sharona was #1 on the charts. It was perfect fodder for a Weird Al parody, so Weird Al flushed out a plan.
My Bologna was just the first thing that came to mind, so I recorded that in the restroom across the hall from the campus radio station because, you know, I couldn't afford a real recording studio.
And he just used very long cords, and we went all the way across the hallway into the bathroom.
I sent it to Dr. Demento, and that was the first song, even though he'd played my songs before, that was the first one that actually was a huge hit in its own right.
And that really took his art to a new level. For the first time, I could play that tape for anybody, and they'd say, wow, that's great.
I got a letter from Dr. Demento in college saying, your song's been #1 for the last 2 weeks. I thought, can't get any better than this. This is the high point of my life.
I don't know how he got my address, but
That's paranoia there.
in the mail came this cassette of this guy playing the accordion, sounded like in his bathroom, singing crazy lyrics to My Sharona, and I loved it. And I took it to Bruce Ravid, our A&R guy at Capitol Records, and said, you've got to sign this guy.
Wow, what a guy.
Well, My Bologna had been a huge hit on the Dr. Demento show for a few weeks, and the Knack decided to do a concert at Cal Poly, of all places.
I met him at a gig backstage. He brought a gigantic bologna.
At the urging of Doug Feiger of the Knack, Al was offered a 6-month contract with Capitol Records. Soon the public was sinking their teeth into My Bologna.
They never really expected to do more than the one single, but, you know, at that point I really had the stars in my eyes. I was like looking at all the gold records and thinking, wow, I'm in Capitol Records.
I don't think Capitol really knew what to make of Al.
Yeah, I'm sure Capitol really thought of My Bologna as, you know, my one hit. I'm a one-hit wonder.
They didn't see Al as being some continuing thing, I don't think.
At that point, they pretty much stopped returning my phone calls. Like, I got another idea. I can do another song. I was like, we did you already, didn't we? So, I mean, that was the end of my career at Capitol.
Coming up, Weird Al copes with failure.
And then my 7th album only went gold instead of platinum. I had to get the medium-sized jacuzzi. Will that work for you? Is that all right?
When Behind the Music continues.